I want to tell you where the sacred actually lives, and it's not where most people think. I think most people who leave organised religion make an incorrect assumption, and it keeps them uncertain longer than they need to be. They assume that when they leave the religion, they left the sacred behind too. They believe the two things are inseparable, that without the institution, they had nothing. That assumption is not correct, and I want to show you why. There are two ways the sacred become manifest. One way is during something you do, the other is something you notice in deep meditation. I want to show you both. The institution and the sacred are not the same thing. They never were. The institution is a human structure built by people with the same fears, needs, ambitions, and psychology as everyone else. It was built around something real, something that existed long before any institution came into being. The sacred was there before the building. It will remain long after the building has gone. The question then is where to find it once you've stepped outside the institution's walls. I've come to believe the answer is much closer than most people think. Let me tell you what I mean from my own experience. This is the first facet, the one you do. Sometimes I find coins in the street. Probably like you, it happens now and again. And when I do, I donate them to charity rather than keep them for myself. It's a small thing. It costs absolutely nothing. But when I do it, there's a feeling that arrives. Quiet, steady, unmistakable. A confirmation that what I just did was right. That feeling is what I've been calling the Holy Spirit throughout this series. It's not from outside me, it's generated from within in response to a specific kind of action, an action that put another sentient's well-being ahead of my own convenience. When I do work around the house, I take precautions to protect the animals, the insects, whatever's there. It could be as simple as working before they are active and about, minimizing the chance of contact. It adds time, it's inconvenient, but when I manage it, the same feeling arrives. And when I fail, when something gets injured by accident, I feel remorse. The same faculty that generates the confirmation also generates the correction. These aren't dramatic moments, it's the thought that counts, doing something that minimizes the chance of harm to others. It becomes the ordinary, and that's exactly the point. The sacred doesn't require a building. It doesn't require a priest, a ritual, a correct belief, or anyone's permission. It operates in the most ordinary moments of human life, in the small decision nobody else sees, in the gap between what would be convenient and what would be right. Most people miss that gap without noticing it, or they notice it and choose convenience, the convenience of what they are taught to believe. Like you found it, you keep it, or they choose right and then hand the credit to the institution, as if the institution were the same as the feeling rather than the action itself. The institution isn't the source. The action is the source. The feeling confirms the action. That's the whole mechanism. At least, that's the first half of it. Here's the second half, and it's quieter than the first. So stay with me. Sit still for a few minutes sometime. It doesn't matter where. Close your eyes if you want. Stop trying to think about anything in particular and just notice what's already there. Underneath the thoughts, there's something that isn't a thought. It's the thing that thoughts are happening in front of. It doesn't judge what passes through it. It doesn't get up or do anything. It just notices. And the strange part is, when you actually sit with it noticing for a while, it doesn't feel like it belongs to you specifically. It feels like the same quiet presence you'd find in anyone if they sat still long enough to look. People who spent serious time doing exactly this in very different times and places keep describing the same thing. Not a thought about God, not a belief, a steady aware stillness that's present before any thought arrives and stays present after it's gone. I think that's the same sacred I've been describing this whole series. Not the version that shows up when you act, the version that's already there before you act, the ground you're acting from. The first facet is the sacred in motion. This is the sacred at rest. Two facets, one thing. The sacred in motion, when you choose the compassionate act. The sacred at rest, when you simply notice what's watching. Neither one needs the building. Neither one needs a teacher's permission to access it. You just have to stop and look, or stop and act. Now let me tell you what I think Jesus was actually pointing at. It's not the doctrine that was built around him, nor the theological framework. What the teaching itself was reaching for. Love your enemies. That's the hardest version of the principle I've just described. And it actually needs both facets to work. It's not love the people who are easy to love, nor love the people who deserve it. Love the ones you have every reason to hate. That takes the still, watching part of you, the part that doesn't flinch or take sides. Staying steady enough to see the person clearly instead of just the wrong they did. And then it takes the acting part of you, extending the same compassion towards them that you'd extend towards the animal you're trying not to harm while you're at work. The teaching fits perfectly with what I've been describing. It's the obvious opposite of hate. It's the most demanding form of right action toward another sentient being, seen through the clearest, calmest attention you're capable of. And if the Holy Spirit confirms the right action, then loving your enemy generates the strongest possible confirmation, because it costs the most and serves the other most completely. That's what the sacred looks like at its most demanding. Not a feeling you receive in a pew, a feeling you can earn through the quality of your intention and the quality of your choices. Here's where the institution lost the thread. What Jesus was pointing at was personal responsibility, the quality of your own attention and your own actions towards other sentient beings, confirmed internally by a feeling that doesn't lie, earned through the actual choices you make in the actual moments of your life. What the institution substituted for that was forgiveness, a product dispensed by an authority with the power to absolve you of the responsibility for what you've done, so you can begin again with a clean slate, whether or not your actions have actually changed. The substitution removed the very mechanism through which the sacred operates. You cannot receive the Holy Spirit's confirmation of right action by being absolved for wrong action. The confirmation only comes from the action itself, seen honestly. It cannot be handed to you by anyone. It has to be earned, one decision at a time, in the ordinary moments of your life. This is the difference between the sacred and the institutional. It's not a theological argument. It's a practical one. The institution asks, do you believe correctly? The sacred asks, were you paying attention? How did you treat that sentient being in front of you? They are not the same question. And for most of the history of organised Christianity, the first question has crowded out the second one almost entirely. The spiritual agnostic is actually better positioned to access the sacred than most people who stayed inside the institution, because the spiritual agnostic has no absolution available. There's no authority to hand the responsibility to, nor a ritual that resets the slate. What they have is the mechanism itself, both halves of it. The stillness that watches without flinching, the action that follows from what it sees clearly, the confirmation, the remorse when they get it wrong, the quiet, steady feeling when they get it right. That mechanism was never inside the building. It operates in every conscious being, regardless of belief, regardless of tradition, regardless of whether they've ever set foot in a place of worship or sat cross-legged on a cushion in their lives. You already have it, both halves of it. You've always had it. You just need someone to point it out clearly enough so you can see it for what it is. You just needed someone to point it out clearly enough that you could see it for what it is. The sacred is available to you right now. It's not after you've found the right practice or joined the right community or developed the right understanding. Right now, in the next quiet few breaths, if you stop and notice what's doing the noticing, or right now, in the next decision you make about how to treat another sentient being, either doorway opens into the same room. It might be something small, a coin, an animal, a thought you choose not to follow, a person you have every reason to treat badly, seeing clearly and treated with compassion instead. The feeling that arises when you get it right, and the stillness that was watching all along. Neither one is a reward the institution gives you. That's the sacred confirming itself through you in the most ordinary moment of your most ordinary day. It was never inside the building. It was always here. I'll see you in the next one.